Hi everyone, and welcome to Creative Chelsea. If you like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up or commenting below. If you want to see more of my videos, press the subscribe button and click on the bell for notifications. If you need any Stampin' Up! Products to make these cards, you can visit my online store, and the link is in the description box below. When you purchase Stampin' Up! Products through me, you can earn free products. Today, I'm going to be using those free products to create these cute birthday cards. Check out my current customer appreciation products on my blog. The link is listed below in the description box. So these fun cards are made with the Playing with Patterns Designer Series paper and the Pattern Play stamp set. Now you can get both of these products for free when you make a purchase with me in December 2020. So let's go ahead and see those products. With a $50 purchase, you're going to receive for free 1/4 of a package of the Playing with Patterns Designer Series paper. This is going to give you 12 sheets of double-sided paper, and it's going to have all these cute patterns. So this is one side of those papers, and then this is the other side. And so this is the paper I've used on my cards today. So then with a $100 order, you're going to receive the Playing with Pattern resin dots and the 1/4 package of the Playing with Pattern Designer Series paper. So you're going to have both products. These resin dots work perfectly with that pattern paper as well. They come in the Coastal Cabana, Crushed Curry, and Purple Posy Stampin' Up! Colors. Then with an order of $150, you're going to receive the stamp set as well as those dots and the Designer Series paper. And this is the stamp set I've used on my cards today. So let's go ahead and start making those cards. So what you're going to do is you're going to take some of the patterns from the pack of Designer Series paper, and you're going to cut them down into some different sizes. And we're going to use most of this 6x6 paper. So I'm going to start by deciding which direction I want my paper to be. So this is a really fun pattern, and I am making horizontal cards today. And so I want to make sure that pattern is the way I want it on my card when I cut it. So I need it to look like I want it on my card. I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and start my cut at 5.5 inches. And I want my strips to be, my lines to go vertical across my card, just like this. So I've cut off that 1/2 inch piece. Then I'm going to rotate and cut at 3 inches. And that's going to give me that larger section for my card. You can see that here. Okay. And then I'm going to take this second piece and I'm going to cut it at 1.5 inches. And that's going to give me that bottom section. Okay. And I could use either side for my cards. And then this 1/2 inch piece that we cut at the beginning, I'm going to now cut down to 5.5 inches. And this is going to be that middle piece that kind of bridges the gap between those other two patterns. So just right there. So I've done that to multiple patterns in the pack, and now I'm going to kind of match them up. So I have some patterns that I used on my first set of cards, and I'm just going to start laying them out and kind of putting all those different colors together. So I really think this is a fun pattern that I want to have at the top, and then I can maybe use this fun teal color, that Coastal Cabana that came from a different pattern. And then let's see if I can match something with this one. Let's do yellow maybe for that one. Or we could even do this fun red one. That might be fun. And then over here, maybe we do the yellow one on this pattern. And then, well, maybe we need the yellow here. What's on the other side? Oh, let's do, what's on this? Oh, let's do this fun pattern here. That would be a good one to do. Can you see that okay? Probably not. So let me scoot it up. So this fun crushed curry and night of navy pattern, I'm going to put this circle pattern on the bottom and then the crushed curry strip across. So that looks really good. And then I have this one, this pattern with the Coastal Cabana on the bottom and running that across. And then I need to come up with something for this one. So maybe I just do the yellow on the back for the bottom on that. And then one of these fun strips. What's on the other side of this one? Okay, so I'm gonna do the fun dots on that one just to kind of break up those patterns. And then this one's gonna have that color there, okay? So I've kind of brought together some different designs for those cards, and you are going to have some of these 1/2-inch strips left over, but I'm gonna do a little bonus card at the end showing you some fun ways to use up those patterns as well. So let's go ahead, let's make this card up here in the corner. I think that will be a fun one, and then I'll make these other ones on my own time. So I have a 3-inch piece, one 1.5-inch piece, and one 1/2-inch piece. I hope that makes sense. So 3 inches, 1.5, and a 1/2 inch. And then we're gonna do some stamping on this 3-inch piece. So what I've done is I've taken that fun confetti looking stamp, there's a couple of them, and I've randomly stamped them on the back piece. And you can use any of these stamps here. You could even use some of these more vertical or horizontal images and kind of do the same effect. So I think for this particular pattern, I could use any of these. I think they will all show up really nicely. I think I want to use the Starburst pattern. So I've gone ahead and put that on my clear block, and I'm going to ink it up with some Versamark. And before I stamp it, I want to remove any static or oils from my fingers. And I'm using an embossing buddy for this. And you can get an embossing buddy at any arts and crafts store or on Amazon. Stampin' Up! Used to sell them, but they don't anymore. So let's go ahead and ink that up. And then what we're going to do is we're just kind of randomly stamping from the left to the right. Make sure you rotate your stamp a little bit if you are using this one or the dots. Obviously, if you're using the hearts, you're not going to want to rotate that stamp any unless you want some upside down hearts for your card. So the hardest part about using Versamark, especially with a pattern paper like this, is you can't always see where you have stamped. So you kind of just have to remember, and if by chance you stamp over those areas, that's okay. It's supposed to be random. All right, so then you're going to add some gold embossing powder. And we just have this really cute pattern on top of our designer series paper. Then we're going to heat it up with our heat tool, and I like to do this from underneath. All right, so there is our gold embossing. It's all nice and shiny and ready for us to put our card together. So I like to work on thick Whisper White cardstock as a card base. It's just got a really nice weight to it. So I just have a normal size card base here that's been cut to 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches and scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to fold that in half and use a bone folder to make a nice crease. And then I'm going to start by adding the bottom piece first to my card base. I just have some double-sided adhesive here with this Stampin' Seal. This is a newer product, so I sometimes forget what it's called. And I just have placed that along the edges, and I'm going to now add that right to that bottom edge of my card. Next, I'm going to add the larger 3-inch piece, and again, just along the edges. And that goes on top, right up to the edge of your card. And then last, I'm going to add our little 1/2 inch strip. And what I like to do when I add little pieces like this that go across my card is use my grid paper. So I'm lining it up, and then I'm just going to go ahead and find a line here. So you can see that it lines up with my grid paper there. So I'm using that to kind of measure and then pulling it all the way to the top to make sure it's nice and even and horizontal across my card. I love how those cute dots kind of play against the diagonal colors for this card. Super cute. Okay, so then the next thing we're going to do is just stamp our greeting, and it's going to go on a 1-inch piece by 2.5 inches. So I have that piece here, and then I'm going to use a coordinating color. So I have the Night of Navy, but you could use any coordinating color from your designer series paper. And I have already put the greeting on a clear block, and I'm inking it up and then just stamping it right in the center of my Whisper White cardstock. I'm just going to give that a minute to dry. I really don't want to smear that ink. And while it's drying, I'm going to wrap some Whisper White baker's twine around my card. Now, the white baker's twine in an individual pack is no longer available from Stampin' Up, but luckily they are pairing it for the January through June 2021 catalog with some pink twine, and it's called Snail Mail Twine Combo Pack. And I'm really happy they brought it back. White baker's twine is one of my favorite products, and I was really disappointed when I didn't see it in the annual catalog. So I'm cutting 20 inches of white baker's twine, and I'm going to wrap it around my card. I'm going to bring those ends together and just pull it to one side. Then I'm going to bring my finger up to that right edge and make a knot here on the edge of my card. When I use baker's twine, it's such a small product that I do make a knot before tying the bow. I think this makes it easier for my fingers to tie a bow and makes the twine nice and tight across the card. And because it's so thin, the knot, you can't even tell that there's a knot first. If you were to do this with like larger ribbon, then it would probably show like you'd have too big of a knot right there. Then I go from the front and back and grab the ribbon and then just rotate it to where I want it to go. So there's a really cute bow on the right side of my card. Now I'm going to take my Cue the Confetti, and I'm going to be adding that to my card. So I'm actually going to bring this ribbon down just slightly so that I can add the greeting right about here. I don't really want to cover up those cute dots, but I'll show you how I did it on my other cards. So you can see that I did bring it down into that space just a little bit to kind of merge all those pieces together. So I am going to do the same thing here. I did use some dimensionals, and I have mini dimensionals, but you could also use the regular size. And then go ahead and place that on your card. So I'm going to bring it over just slightly. And if I wanted to, I could try to stamp a little more confetti here on the right side. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it. I think it looks fine, but it would be nice if I had a little bit of an image there on that right side. But I think in the end, it's with the bow there, it should fill in that gap okay. So I'm just going to rotate that over just a little bit so the bow's in the bottom right corner. and slide that ribbon underneath the greeting, just like that. Come up just a little bit more. Sorry, I fuss a lot with my ribbons, so there we go. Okay, so that card is all done. Okay, so then for the bonus card, all you need are those leftover 1.5 inch strips and then a card base. So you're just gonna go ahead and fold your card base in half. And then you wanna take those 1/2 inch strips and you're just going to arrange them in groups of 3. So I have here 5 strips, and so I'm going to do a group of 3 and a group of 2, and I'll just kind of show you how those all work out. So I think I'm going to kind of keep these patterns here together. I think that gives me a really fun look with that crushed curry in between those 2 patterns with the dots. This is just what it looks like on the other side, and I could use those patterns on the other side as well. And then I'm going to use these 2 patterns together here. One of the nice things about the papers I've used is that there is some paper that's just solid. And so I'm going to do some stamping on that particular paper. If by chance you don't have any patterns that are solid, then you could stamp just on some scrap Whisper White cardstock and add that to your card as well. So let's start with the pattern of 3. So here, I'm just going to begin by adding a strip onto my card. Just going to take some of that Stampin' Seal and just right to the edge of this card, add that pattern. The nice thing about Stampin' Seal is it's really a great adhesive, but if you don't get it right where you want it, it can be a little tricky to pick up and move. So sometimes I also like to use liquid glue when placing designer series paper on my cards. So then let's do this, this one next, and we're actually going to kind of tuck it underneath that one just slightly. So go ahead and add some adhesive to the back here, tuck it under, and then just make sure it lines up to that edge on both sides. And then this last one, we're going to place on the left. This is just a really simple card and just uses up those scraps. So go ahead and add this one to the last open space. So now you've got this fun crushed curry sandwich between these 2 fun patterns. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that Cue the Confetti stamp, and in that space here, I'm going to just stamp directly onto the designer series paper with the Night of Navy. And this is just a good dark ink that coordinates with that color, and so it will show up nice. I'm just going to kind of move it over just slightly, kind of in the same position as it would be on my other cards that I made. So just off to the right. And again, if I didn't have any patterns that I could stamp on, I could just put a scrap paper and do the same thing on that scrap paper. And then just to kind of step up my card a little bit, I'm going to cut another 20 inches of baker's twine and then tie that right here in the same place as my other card, and then tie a bow. And then just place that right along that edge, and then you can slide it to be wherever you want. I'm just going to bring it in just slightly. So this would be a really good place to use some of those fun resin dots that coordinate so well with that designer series paper. And then lastly, we're going to just kind of quickly talk about how you can use 2 pieces together. So I would just do the exact same thing. I would place one on one side and then place the second one on top. You could match them or slide it under just slightly, and then stamp your greeting on that solid color, and tie a bow with that baker's twine. So you get one that just has 2. Now, if you just have 1 left and you just you used up all your other paper, you could easily use it just at the bottom of your card and stamp your greeting right there on the Whisper White card base and then tie a bow. So I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the fun ways to use the Playing with Patterns Designer Series paper along with the Pattern Play stamp set. If you're interested in receiving these products for free, please place an order with me in December 2020. For close-up images and step-by-step instructions on creating these cards, you can visit my blog, creativechelsea.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.